5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Jim George is here, Professor Gadget, and also the owner of American Cable Services. And I've had a few calls this morning, Jim, asking what time you were coming on, because I got a few people wanting to know when their cable's coming back on. I don't know if you know the answer, but good morning, Jim.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, the answer is basically section by section, township by township. In other words, little subdivisions and such. Cox Cable has a tremendous task before them.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just mentioning to you earlier, Southeast 52nd Street looks like a bomb went off there. I mean, there's huge trees, 25 to 42 inches in diameter across the roads. They're pushing them on the side. There's over 11 power poles on that one street alone. Mm-hmm. My street's got like 7 power poles. And Cox and those people hooked to the power poles. But let me give you some decent news. The phone is up. Because the phone company in certain areas decided years ago that they were not going to pay $15 a pole per year to feed your area. They'd much rather put the system underground, which we've been saying for years. Why is not the power underground?
Yeah.
All right, so if you go on top of the world, you go to Spruce Creek, where's the power? Underground. All subdivisions, Magnolia, they force you to put them underground.
I didn't realize that.
But the power company itself, they put it above ground. Now, there's certain reasons for it, dollars and cents wise. It costs nearly 1.5 times more to put it underground than it does above. Mm-hmm. But with today's conduits, with today's wire, I mean, you could and transformers that go underground instead of up in the air. So to make a long story short, there's going to be areas that I'm going to estimate this time next month. You and I people will be calling in saying, when can I get my cable restored?
Really? So it's going to take that long?
Yeah. I'm predicting the area I live in, which is off the Southeast 52nd, which is about where Frank lives, that general area. Mm-hmm. They won't have power till next Friday.
So how do they deal with the billing? I mean, do they bill people? If you don't have cable for, let's say, a month, do you get a bill?
You get a bill, but you can prorate it. In other words, a computer is going to spit the bill out and say internet, and let's say it's phone and TV, $150. Mm-hmm. All you do is call in and say, hey, I was off for 10 days or 20, whatever it is, and they'll prorate it.
Well, they won't know. You have to tell them?
You have to tell them. Oh, yeah, they're going to. No, it's that way. We were off for 2 days in Ocala Palms.
Your electricity or your cable?
One whole day with power, another whole day with internet. Mm-hmm. And people called in and wanted us to give them, time. Well, my daughter, she's an office manager. She's been giving them like whole months off for one day. I said, you ain't going to give them 1 month off for one day. Well, so we give them like $5 off their bill.
Oh, I see. Well, but in your case, it's only 1 day. So.
It's only 1 day.
Yeah.
But we did not force them to call in. We just prorated the bill ourselves. We knew we were off for 2 days.
Sure, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
So we did the normal bill. We divided it by 30, and we took 2 of those days off, and we said, here is your new invoice. People are very happy that when they get a bill like that. But the other companies will not do that. Cox will not. They'll bill you the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But now CenturyLink is up in almost all of Ocala. So
let me ask you something. If the electric companies did what the other communities do and put the power lines underground,
right?
Do they shy away from that for the fear that people will dig and then hit a shovel into a power line or something?
Dollars and cents. Like I said, you can put a power pole up.
Well, how do you prevent it, though? How do you prevent somebody from, like, using one of those Caterpillar things, whatever you call them?
There's 811. Call before you dig.
Right.
All right, you just call. And by law, you cannot put a shovel in the ground until you call for locates first. Mm-hmm. So the tree company, if you want to put a tree in your yard, let's assume the palm tree that came down on that lady's house she reported on.
Yeah.
Let's assume she wanted another palm tree. 811 would come out and locate the water, the power, the TV, locate everything, and say, okay, you're safe. There's nothing in this area. Then the big grabber guy would come with his big, hole dig. He'd dig the hole, remove the old palm tree, put a new palm tree in, cover it up, brace it, but there's no digging until you call for locates first.
I wouldn't want another palm tree. If a palm tree fell on my trail, I'd say, forget palm trees. I don't want one.
Good riddance to bad. Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be a real long time before it's back to normal. You may have power, but it won't be back to normal. You may have a lot of things that because every time they hook in another section, you're going to get a little surge.
Oh, okay.
Every time another little line gets put on, every time you might go home tonight and find that your clock is flashing, your VCR is flashing, because it went off and went on, or it surged.
Yeah.
And so that's why when people call in and say, hey, I have whole house surge protectors, but I still have lost this and lost that. Those initial surges are unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Really? So we're all still in the danger zone.
Yep. Until everybody is hooked up and the lines can be balanced.
Jim is here if you have some questions. He had 3 this morning that wanted to talk to you. So the phone lines are open, 622-9622 if you want to speak to Jim about your cable, or maybe he's answered it already and you don't really need.
Well, let me give you some good news.
Yeah.
So I had a gentleman call me and he said, where do you get those antennas at? Cox is down. And,
right.
And I said, well,
Exactly.
Market Sumerian, Ken's antenna. So he sent me an email yesterday and said, I got an antenna, and I put it up. And let me tell you, I am never going back to
Oh,
cable.
no, yeah.
He said, I'm getting over 60-plus channels. And I'm getting Me TV, My TV, This TV, Decades TV, and there's all these sub-channels that are on the off-the-air channel.
Yeah.
So when you get 2, you get 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. Well, 2, let's say, is high def, but 2.1 would be another whole channel. It would still be put out by ABC or NBC, but it'd be another whole channel. So every one channel gives you 2 or 3 channels. So when you pick up, let's say, 11 or 12 channels in our area, you're really getting 40 to 50 channels.
Wow.
And if you turn the antenna north, remember it's on a rotor like the one Doug has, then you get 4 and 5 other channels out of there, and every one of those has 2 and 3 on it. So, you're going to get 60 some odd plus channels. What else could you possibly ask for like $70?
And you're basically
one-time fee.
You're basically telling people how to stop being a customer of yours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, we do have a phone call. Good morning. Thank you for calling and for waiting. You're on the air with Jim George.
Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Doug.
I have a question for you, and I hope you can give me the honest answer.
Okay.
When Cox puts the cable up on the pole, and let's say instead of putting it on the pole, how come the hurricanes come this way, keep on knocking them down, and putting them right back up again? How about putting it underground, or maybe apophytic internet?
Okay, well, they put them on the pole, Doug, because it's convenient for them. The pole is there. They attach to it. They can hook you up 2, 3, 4 times faster than they possibly could ever do underground. Plus, when they go underground, they're going to cut everybody out. So they're going to cut some water lines, some sprinkler lines, all kind of lines that people have put in that are unlocatable because they put them in, sold a home. The next person doesn't know where the wires come. They don't know where the drainage ditch is. The drain is for their septic tank. So the convenient way is to put it in the air. But a new subdivision that's being built, they put them all underground because they coordinate all the underground. But when you go into places like Denver, Colorado, downtown, New York downtown, everything is underground. And they just put in those huge underground vaults. As you know, you've seen all that stuff. And a man can walk in those vaults and run all the wires. And we just didn't plan our city well as far as one-way streets, and or did we plan it well as far as underground? What we should do as a city of Ocala, we should get together with all the utilities and say we want to enter into a 10-year plan and everything goes underground, or a 20-year plan. Anything built from this point on, and any new stuff like this hurricane stuff, let's put it underground. But they haven't.
All right, thank you. The phone lines are open if you want to call Jim with a question. He might have answered your question already. That's awesome. The other idea is, and I know Doug has that antenna, so
Yes.
even though he doesn't have his cable, at least he does have the signals coming in from
And he's very low. He's only like maybe 8 foot above his home.
Yeah, very low, yeah.
If you were to, if he were to have like a clear shot, if that tree didn't hit his house, did it? The one right in front of him?
Well, he had a small tree that hit his house, but it didn't do any damage.
All right.
It was behind the
And
trailer.
one of his neighbors came over, nice guy, and cut it up with a what do you call it, chainsaw.
Yep.
Took it away. So
great.
he was very, very fortunate.
Very fortunate.
Yeah. We do have another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Jim.
Yeah, good morning. This is Jim.
Yes, Jim.
And I sent Robin an email with an attachment for USA Today. It had a small article about ham radio helping out. Now, we were helping out here in Marion County, but this particular article is about Vero Beach. But I thought I'd send that over to Robin, and she can pull it down for Jim George.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll go get that.
All right.
Yes.
Have a good day.
Oh, thank you.
I think because of the Ken's antennas, that's really a wonderful thing. I'm thinking about getting that too. But with your service, Jim, you're a la carte. So if we
Yes.
get that antenna, we can have all the TV stations we wanted here. But if we wanted your service, we could get your service a la carte and have those special programs like the Horse Channel and things. So that shouldn't really cut into you
Right,
much.
right. And I'll even tell people they may even want to get their antenna and get a service like mine because, whereas I'm bringing in CNN and ESPN, the satellite channels, the distant channels, why would you want to pay for local channels when a one-time fee, you put up an antenna, you get all the channels you want,
Right.
and there are more being added every day. The gentleman that bought this antenna is actually a cable TV engineer. All right.
Nice.
And he said, I found 2 channels I didn't even know existed.
Oh, nice.
In other words, when we go on the search engines that we use, how far away is this certain channel? How much power does it emanate? How tall is their tower? Those 2 channels don't show up. Mm-hmm. And yet, because they're low power.
Isn't that something? Wow.
And he found 2 more channels. He said, I want to add them to your system because they're great channels.
Nice.
We have another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Jim.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning. Good morning.
My wife asked me a question. Of course, I don't know everything, but I know quite a lot. But anyways, she wanted to know. She stayed up. I went to bed at 9:00 during the storm because I know she's a nervous Nelly, and she'd be up and take care of her. So anyway, she had the TV on, the satellite on, and it was windy and it was blowing outside and everything else, and never lost the picture. But yet, maybe like on a Sunday, she's watching her Packer game, and there's a thunderstorm down the road a couple of miles, and the picture goes out. Why didn't we lose the satellite picture?
It depends at the angle that your dish was aiming at. In other words, it was looking through, even though it was raining and it was maybe windy, the dish could see through it at that angle. But sometimes you can lose your signal and it would be raining, at the different look angle. So that's the only answer I can give you.
Now, my neighbor says that what he thinks is that a thunderstorm builds up into the atmosphere real high, and that blocks the signal out. That's why, like during a hurricane, you never get cloud to ground lightning or anything like that, or hardly any lightning. And he thinks the cloud being high up in the air like that blocks the signal, where on a hurricane it kind of stays flat.
Well, the hurricane's full of water and wind and rain also, but I'm surprised that she didn't lose it during the hurricane. That's fantastic, but any number of things can block a satellite. So keep in mind that a raindrop to you and I is nothing, but raindrop to that frequency is the size of a basketball. And when it sees all those raindrops and they form a wall, then the signal cannot get through it. I mean, it's strong, but it can't get through it.
Yeah.
And your satellite dish can receive up to what's called a minus 65 dB. In other words, not even a 0, not a plus, but a minus 65, the dish operates efficiently. So that signal's got to drop a long way before that dish can drop out.
Does it make any difference what size dish you have?
No. DirecTV and Dish basically only have 2 size dishes. They have the little 18-inch, which was looking at the analog type signals, and then they have the the little 30-inch or 36-inch dish, and there are some intermediate sizes they tried, in between that. I won't go on record as saying those are the only two sizes, but no, they don't. They shy away from the large dishes. We have large dishes at our complex, but they're only looking at the analog signal off of an analog satellite. If we want to get the high definition ones, which we are now putting up, they give us a small antenna, just about 30 inches, and then they say, okay, and this is the only size that will work.
I'll be darned, yeah. Okay, well, I'm glad you made it through the storm, okay, and thank you very much.
Yep.
All right, thank you. All right, we are up against the break. Let's take that break, and we will be right back. Jim George here to answer your questions about technology. Today, it seems like it's more focused on things that might have been affected by Hurricane Irma. So we'll take a break and be right back with Jim.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It is going to stay warm and humid today. We'll have sun mixed with clouds, and there'll be an afternoon thunderstorm. The high 86 to 90. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, a low 73 to 78. And another afternoon thunderstorm tomorrow, especially inland. Otherwise, partly sunny with highs of 87 to 89. Partly sunny and highs of 86 to 89 Sunday. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
Here is your 30-second news brief. Marion County is partnering with community agencies to deliver water and food at 2 p.m. this afternoon to those in need following Hurricane Irma. The 3 locations are in Reddick, Citra, and Silver Springs. Call 438-2300 for addresses. A 25-year-old man is accused of slamming a gas station employee to the ground after he was told he couldn't cut in line to get gas. And state lawmakers are calling for a criminal investigation into the nursing home deaths in South Florida. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
I'm Jan Marino from Palm Garden of Ocala, and I'd like to tell you about the Palm Garden Way. We promote individual care, of course, but we also encourage GEMS. That's going the extra mile, and these are thoughtful individual gifts that make each guest stay special. A gem could be a daily latte or a new book or something else that means a lot to our guest. To find out more about the Palm Garden Way, take a tour, located on the corner of 27th Avenue and 34th Street in Ocala.
The entire world watched. They watched each step down the rungs of that small ladder, one after another, and waited with great anticipation for that last step.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
At that moment, humanity saw the impossible become the possible. And today, the sky is not the limit. Achievement. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
An unexpected pregnancy can turn a young woman's life upside down. The House of One in Faith in Ocala gives these young women a place to live in privacy and comfort under the Christian care of counselors who will guide and protect both the woman and her unborn child. The House of One in Faith is confidential, loving, and free. For more information, call 352-687-8895.
24 minutes after 9 o'clock. Sorry. It's an off-the-air conversation.
Oh, I didn't hear that, did I?
If you have a question for Jim about technology, did you use any? Right now, you don't have power at your house, right?
We have a generator. It's a small one. It's basically able to handle the lights and the refrigerator, but it won't handle the water heater. It won't handle the AC.
I have a question about refrigerators. When my power was out, and I had my turned off, all my circuit breakers.
Right.
So when the power came back on, I did the circuit breaker thing. And I was just curious, how long does it take a refrigerator to get back up and running to the where it should be?
Oh, at least a half a day.
Okay.
You mean as far as freezing again and getting the chill factor?
Yeah,
at least a half a day.
It took a long time.
Well, there's a compressor in there, and it's on I don't want to say a timer, but it's on a rotation device. So it turns the compressor on for so long and stops. It hasn't reached where it needs to reach, but it knows to not continually run. And then it lets the refrigerator, let's say the box itself, stabilize. Then it comes on again, and then it comes on again until it reaches its temperature that where you have it set, whether you have it set for the coldest or the average is 5. If you read the little sticker on the door, a lot of times it'll say, set your freezer and your refrigerator to 5, and then after 24 hours, set it where you like to have it either more colder or less colder, in your refrigerator. Like my wife, she loves everything frozen really hard, like the ice cream, let's say. Whereas I like the ice cream to be a little more, so the spoon won't bend in half.
Soft serve, yeah.
I mean, every spoon in the house we have is bent. Like, I'm trying to dig ice cream. I need a chainsaw to, But she likes it, and she likes all the drinks to be really cold, and yet. She has that teeth factor, the sensitivity, and she'll say, "Oh, it's so cold." And well, why do you have, So you like the consistency, but the coldness is just too much. No, it take a good 24 hours.
So maybe I didn't read any instructions. I didn't even look for instructions.
Well, you probably left the settings right where they were.
I didn't do anything, yeah.
Yeah, you just plugged it back in or turned the breaker back on. No, that's the average thing to do, but I'm just saying it's going to take a full 24 hours to get up to a certain level.
But my mayonnaise is basically destroyed, right? I can't.
No.
No?
No, your mayonnaise is not.
Oh, I'm throwing it away.
Really?
It was in the refrigerator for like 3 days without any power.
Well, do you know that when you buy eggs and they're in the chilling area, right? The eggs are chilled.
Right.
You could leave those things out for 30 days if you wanted to without refrigeration, and they won't
Not
come
me.
back.
Really?
Yeah, they won't come back.
No.
Afraid.
I'm not doing that.
Really?
Yeah, no, there's certain.
So how is it? How is the power changing your way of life right now? Do you have to cook on a?
We don't cook.
You don't cook.
There's no power to cook.
I have a camping stove.
I've eaten bologna sandwich, turkey sandwich. We went out and bought sliced meat, lunch meat, and bread. And that's it. And of course, the stores were sold out of bread. So what we had to do was we bought the artisan type bread. They got all the Maritas and all the Arnold. They bought all the.
Oh yeah.
We went to Publix, and when they had the bread, like the pumpernickel, we had them slice it. And we brought it home. So it has no preservatives, so it doesn't last long.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just what they make for that day, let's say. But it was fine for us, a couple of sandwiches. And, of course, we finally got the microwave to work. The generator finally let us turn this off and turn that on type of thing. And so we have a microwave. Microwave's a wonderful thing.
Should a person maybe have 2 separate generators, especially if you have somebody that has special needs that needs to be on an oxygen machine?
If you can afford 2 generators. I'm going to venture that right after the hurricane, you're going to see some sales on generators.
I bet you do, yeah.
Because imagine you went out and bought a generator.
Well, do you remember
you paid $800, $900 for it. And the hurricane's over. You want to keep it for 2, 3, 4 years?
Yeah.
Sell it.
Do you remember in 2004, you could go into the stores and they would have these generators and these nice little mini coverings that you could put outside so that it wouldn't get wet. And everybody was going to set themselves up. Every house was now going to have a generator.
Right.
And of course, that didn't happen, but that was the talk.
Yeah, nope.
At the time.
No, there are people are going to get rid of the generators. I happen to have an old generator. I bought a new generator for work, and I hadn't used it yet, so I brought it home. And I've been using it, but the old clunker works better than the brand new one.
Wow.
Yep, it really does. I hate to admit that, but
you got to keep the old ones.
So I'm going to keep the old one and just take it into a repair place and say, it works, but go over it, make sure it's really good, and then I'm going to sell this brand new one. I'm just going to
good idea.
Because I'm not going to use it for work. If it doesn't hold my house, it's not going to hold my work.
Yeah, right.
But you pay $800 for this thing, you'll end up selling it for $5, $4. Whatever.
Well, hopefully by the time we see you next week, everything's back to normal.
If you want a generator, go to Craigslist or someplace. You'll buy them real cheap.
Gosh.
All right, Jim. And any reason to call you? Give Jim a call at his number, which is
854-9795.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. A